Tonight, we move from the starting blocks to the diving board. We're diving into some interesting territory with Marywood's record-setting diver tonight on Beyond the Arch. She is a senior broadcast journalism major and a diver for Marywood's swimming and diving team from Williamsport, Pennsylvania. In high school, she was a district medalist and the captain of the diving team in her junior and senior years for the Williamsport Millionaires. Once at Marywood, our guest achieved great success on the diving board. She placed 6th and 11th on the 1 and 3 meter dives respectively at the Landmark Championships in her freshman season. She then moved up to the runner-up in both events and Marywood's Diver of the Year last year, and this year she had a historic season, winning a gold medal in the 3 meter dive and a silver medal in the 1 meter dive, in addition to being named the Landmark Conference's Co-Diver of the Year. She was also the first Marywood diver to earn a spot in an NCAA zone meet. Before I sit down with her, I go one-on-one with a twist with Courtney Synder next.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
You've messed up your son's haircut.
Mom?
Do you A, try to fix it,
Like it never happened.
B, work with what you got, or C, show solidarity?
Thank you, babe.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help, and slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Right, mi cariño. So like I said, everything I learned about cooking, I learned from Grandma's empanadas. Shall we go again?
Yep.
Mix the beef with the onions with the peppers with the paprika with the garlic with the oregano with the cumin. Got it?
Got it.
Throw in the olives, stir, season, stir again, pour out the flour, roll out the dough, make a circle, drop in a fistful of filling, fold over, press down, and ta-da!
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I brought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice. And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Alvin and the Chipmunks want to remind you, bacteria can hide in food and make you ill.
Wow.
But you can keep bacteria from ruining your day with 4 simple steps. Clean.
I'm waiting for the rinse cycle.
Separate. Cook. And chill.
We chipmunks are notoriously tidy.
Check your steps. The road trip to food safety starts at foodsafety.gov.
Right, mi cariño. So like I said, everything I learned about cooking, I learned from Grandma's empanadas. Shall we go again?
Yep.
Mix beef with the onions with the peppers with the paprika with the garlic with the oregano with the cumin. Got it?
Got it.
Throw in the olives, stir, season, stir again, pour out the flour, roll out the dough, make a circle, drop in a fistful of filling, fold over, press down, and ta-da!
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain.
Welcome back to the show. I'm pleased to be joined by Courtney Synder. Thanks for being here tonight, Courtney.
No problem.
Well, we're really happy to have you here after your historic season. We'll get to that later. But first, we're going to talk a little bit about Courtney the person before we get into Courtney the diver. That's what the show's all about, humanizing athletes. So let's talk about how you ended up here at Marywood, if you could think back.
So back when I was about a junior, I used to lifeguard at the YMCA back home. And there was a girl who's actually an alumni here that I guarded with. And she told me, I wasn't even looking at Marywood, told me to check it out. So I was like, oh, okay. So I came for an open weekend with my mom, and I heard that they had a 5-year program and they give a lot of experience for freshmen when other schools, they wait till your junior or senior year. So I was like, oh, that's real cool, like smaller class numbers, I'm really interested in that, and especially the 5th year program. Diving, on the other hand, I wasn't really like trying to do when I came to college, but my mom was like, well, you'll make more friends if you do a sport, and I was like, okay, so that would be a plus. But mainly I came for the 5th year program just because I didn't want to go back to school for longer than I needed to.
So that's interesting. There's a lot of athletes, you know, it's almost all of them say they come here for academics. So I think at the bigger schools, obviously, you see there it's athletically driven. So all academics for you all the way, pretty much. So you prepared to let diving go then after high school?
I wasn't trying to do it anymore just because high school was pretty rough for me with diving. So I was kind of over it. But then the coach that they had coming in talked to me a lot about it, and I was like, oh, well, maybe I'll try it for 1 more year, see if I like it, and then I'll continue if it goes well.
Can you tell us a little bit about the major you're in? I mean, this is the major, actually. She's a broadcast journalism major, so this is a lot of our majors here. But so tell us a little bit about the major.
Yeah, so I'm a broadcast journalism major. I'm a senior, but I also have a minor in photography. So I was kind of looking to do more of a photojournalism type of major, but they don't have that here. So I just decided to do journalism and then minor in the photography.
So is your passion really photography then?
A little bit, but I do also like writing.
Sure. Hey, man, the more skills you have, the better. So you can take your own photos and write your own story, and there you go. So what drew you into this major in particular? Anything, just your love of writing and taking photographs?
My great-grandfather used to actually just go on little adventures, and he'd have a little notebook, and he would take a picture and write what he thought when he was there, the time, the date, everything. And then years from then, he'll go back to that same time and like see if his thoughts changed. And I really found that interesting, so I was like, wow, that's cool. I just started doing that for myself.
Nice.
So when my aunt actually introduced me to photojournalism, I was like, wow, I should probably do that since I've been doing it basically for a couple years now. So I was looking at all the schools in Pennsylvania and didn't find Marywood until I met that lifeguard. And I mean, this program's really good, so I decided to come here.
Well, it's awesome. We're glad to have you. You made a lot of, like I said, you made a lot of history here, so I'm sure Marywood's glad to have had you. But what are your aspirations in the field of photojournalism or journalism or?
I would really like to work for National Geographic just because I love traveling. And again, writing about photos was my passion. So
National Geo, some of the best
yeah,
photos
yeah.
there, yeah.
And recently, over spring break, I went to Italy, so I got to experience what life is over across the one ocean. So I got to see what it was like. And I would really love to keep doing that kind of stuff. So photojournalism is more of what I would want to do.
So what part of Italy did you go to? I'm interested in the Italy trip now.
Yeah, so we flew into Milan, and then we stayed in Padua and got to travel to Venice every day. And then on our free day, I went to Burano and Torcello. So those were the little islands and like towns we went to.
Was the food good?
Amazing.
Okay. Do they have pizza or no?
Of course.
Right. But it's probably better than Old Forge pizza or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we had to clear that one up. I figured I knew what the answer was going to be, but, you know, there's a split opinion. So
Yeah.
we had to clear the water there. All right. Do you have any interests outside athletics?
Like other sports?
Other sports or even just other hobbies that you do in your free time?
I do like, obviously photography is one, but I like fly fishing. My great uncle taught me how to tie my own, and then he unfortunately passed away, so I got to learn how to do that, and I do that all the time, so that's fun.
Do you follow sports?
Basketball.
Okay, and do you have a favorite team?
The Warriors.
Okay, now when did you start being a Warrior fan?
When Kevin Durant wins.
Okay, that's all right. It's all right. We're just trying to. Okay, so is KD your favorite player then?
Yes.
Okay. What do you think this year? Are they going all the way again?
I hope so. I really
Rockets
do.
might give them a run for their money, but we'll see.
I know, they're making me a little nervous.
You know what I'm a fan of? I'm a fan of the Cavaliers. But I was a fan when LeBron left and they had Kyrie, before even Kyrie came with like Joey Graham and those people. But maybe we'll see a fourth one in a row, so it might be.
I know.
We might not be able to like talk to each other or anything during that time or whatever. No, but okay, but so you said favorite athletes, Kevin Durant. Anybody other than him?
Diving wise, I really like Greg Louganis and David Boddia.
Absolutely.
They're my favorites. But Tom Daley's good, but he's not really from the U.S., so he's a backup.
Do you look up to any of those guys in particular, or?
David Boddia, yeah, I really do. He's had an awesome career, and I've watched him ever since he started, so it's been crazy to see him dive and then thinking, like, I do the same thing, but not as good, but, like, I still do the same thing, and I've always had dreams to go to the Olympics, but that wouldn't happen, obviously,
well,
but...
You never know.
Yeah.
Right? No, but so do you model any of your dives after any of them, or do you, like, just kind of do your...
No, I pretty much do my own thing.
Well, no, I know they do advanced dives, but I mean, I know you
yeah.
kind of have something to shoot for at least too.
Yeah, definitely.
So, if you could meet any three athletes, who would they be and why?
Those three would be the three I would meet. Kevin Durant, obviously included in that. But I don't know, just like looking up to them and what they've done, I've always wanted to be just like that and like carry on my life like that. So I would want to meet those three because of those reasons. They've done so much.
So circling back to something you said before about we were talking about you were willing to like dive and go, right? So now that you see everything that happened, do you think like, thank God I didn't, or what do you think?
Yeah. Honestly, when I came to college, like again, I wasn't gonna dive, and then of course my mom talked me into it. And my freshman year was kind of rough, but I got through it. Sophomore year, we ended up losing the diving coach, so I didn't have a coach at all. So I coached myself and the other boy diver that was on the team, and that was really hard. Over our Christmas break, I almost didn't come back because it wasn't doing anything for me, and I just didn't want to be there. But again, if it wasn't for my mom and my friends, I wouldn't have come back. Got through that season, and then I heard we were getting Sarah Zerfoss, which is she went to Clarion, which when I was in middle school, I went to camps at Clarion. So I knew their background. I was like, Clarion's a good school. They have good divers. So I knew what she was talking about. So I was like, well, I'll go back out for the team because she's going to know what she's talking about. And I'm glad I did because she's done so much for me, and she's an awesome coach. And I'm actually sad that she's leaving too. So, yeah.
So was there any one in particular reason that you think that because it seems like, you said you were willing, is there one reason that is it just like in your heart you felt like you wanted to keep doing it, or you got here and it was just a perfect storm, or like, what do you think?
I think it was just a perfect storm. I think I wasn't ready to leave it, but I was just mixed. And if I wouldn't have gone out for it again, obviously I wouldn't be here. So I'm glad I did.
All right, we're just scratching the surface. I have much more to talk about with Courtney next.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I brought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice. And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Alvin and the Chipmunks want to remind you, bacteria can hide in food and make you ill.
Wow.
But you can keep bacteria from ruining your day with 4 simple steps. Clean.
I'm waiting for the rinse cycle.
Separate. Cook. And chill.
We chipmunks are notoriously tidy.
Check your steps. The road trip to food safety starts at foodsafety.gov.
Right, mi cariño. So like I said, everything I learned about cooking, I learned from Grandma's empanadas. Shall we go again?
Yep.
Mix beef with the onions with the peppers with the paprika with the garlic with the oregano with the cumin. Got it?
Got it.
Throw in the olives, stir, season, stir again, pour out the flour, roll out the dough, make a circle, drop in a fistful of filling, fold over, press down, and ta-da!
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain.
And we're back with Marywood's record-setting diver, Courtney Synder. All right, Courtney, so we were just getting to know about you a little bit. Now we have a pretty good idea. That's we're going to start getting into diving, which maybe you feel more comfortable talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get into that now. So let's start off. There's always the first question I like to ask. Why diving? Why that sport?
Well, I started as a gymnast when I was 3 and did that for about 12 years. And then I kind of wanted to have a life because as a gymnast you don't.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided, as my dad calls it, I retired, but I just left. But so then
retired, it sounds has a ring to it.
I guess you could say. So then I didn't really do anything for a little while, and I was like, I can't do this. It's so hard to go from doing something every day to nothing. So I decided to swim. And one day I was at like a club team because I wasn't old enough to be on the high school's team, and their diving was having practice right then, and the coach came over and pulled me out of the water, and she goes, "Weren't you a gymnast?" And I was like, "Yeah, why?" And she goes, "Well, why are you swimming?" It's like, "I don't know." So she goes, "Shouldn't you be diving?" I was like, "I guess." So then the next day I just went to their diving practices, and then that's where I ended up.
So did you think you had a knack for it right off the bat, or?
I definitely picked up on it quickly just because it's so similar to gymnastics because of all the flipping and twisting. The only difference is in gymnastics you're more moving like forward and backward, whereas diving you want to go up as you're doing that.
Right.
So figuring that out was kind of hard, but once I did, obviously it like worked out. But other than that, no.
Okay. So you were fairly a natural at it then, would you say? Because the same movement. So like was there instant success, or was it more like a slow build, or?
It was at first, and then I kind of hit like a little bit of a peak, and then I thought I was good, and I was like, well, I can just chill out for a little bit, and because the people on my team were getting a little jealous, so I was like, okay, I'll just chill. I was like, I'm not gonna do anything, make anyone mad.
Right.
So then a girl who also I did gymnastics with decided to come to diving. And me and her had a little bit of competition. I'm like, oh, I'm obviously going to keep going. So I kind of fought with her a little bit. And then once I got to college, then, I mean, obviously.
Right. So what's your biggest source of motivation then? I know you said like the performances of other people motivate you? Do you feel like you need to be pushed, or is it just self-motivation, or a combination?
I think I have a lot of motivation for myself, but also having like my coach and my teammates and my parents too. They also motivate me a lot, especially when I'll call them like really upset that I had a bad practice, and they'll be like, well, it was just one practice, you have more, just keep going, like that kind of stuff. Not having them doing that, I definitely would have left.
That's another common thread amongst all the athletes we have on here is a strong support system, like good family and mentors and stuff. So that kind of leads me to my next question. Do you have anybody that you look to, or a few people that are mentors?
Definitely my coach, just because over the past 2 years of knowing her, we got really close. So, and I respect her so much and her diving knowledge. So I would definitely look to her, and then my parents, obviously, because they've always been there for me through every sport I've done. So.
Is there any piece of advice that really sticks with you in terms of making a good dive or becoming a good diver?
My coach just told me this year, and that's what I got her as a president. She would quote this one quote. It'd be like, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And I love that quote, actually, because it's true. When you don't work hard and you have that so much talent, then what's the point?
So speaking of hard work, I know that getting into diver shape is definitely hard work. Yeah, so how do you get into diver shape?
I guess a lot of conditioning. We do a lot of like ab workouts and cardio workouts just so our core stays hard, and then like a lot of leg workouts too, because you have to be able to like obviously jump high. But without having that, you're not going to do much, because you have to have a lot of body awareness in diving. So without that, your body doesn't really know where you're at, and that's when you crash.
Right. So what's the most important aspect of preparation? Is it just the conditioning, or is it technique, or?
It's a lot of things. It's technique, it's consistency, like doing numbers, that kind of stuff. Like the more numbers you do, the more consistent you are with a dive, the more your body's aware of it, and even if your mind messes up while you're in the middle of the dive, your body knows where you're at. So having that body awareness is really important too.
Now diving is, it's a dangerous sport. We were talking about this before. I mean, a lot of people don't associate it kind of, I feel like, with that, because they're used to just jumping into a pool or something, and they think it's just whatever. But so what are the dangers of diving, maybe? Like educate some people maybe a little bit.
There's a lot of dangers. Like, I know personally I've hurt myself a bunch of times where I've like either gone over on a dive and smacked my back, where I've had suit imprints in my back for 3 days. I've had friends who've gotten concussions, burst their eardrums. I landed flat on my stomach and tore muscle in my pectoral muscle in my chest, and it was rough. And it's terrible, but you can hurt yourself really badly if you're not like careful and know what you're doing. But that again comes with doing numbers.
So when you're up there on the board, obviously it's a ways up. So what do you think? I mean, are you with knowing that something? I mean, I know you can't really think about something could go wrong, but how do you approach that?
I usually, when I get up there, just tell myself, you've done it a billion times, you got it, you can do it. Just like practice, act like no one's here, it's just you. That's usually what I tell myself.
It's quite literally a leap of
faith.
Really, yeah.
Literally.
Or a dive of faith, I guess we could say today. Oh yeah, no, but now something I kind of want to ask, and maybe other people might be curious about, like when we watch the Olympics and stuff, you were talking about the muscles before getting hurt. There's a little tub area that the divers go into.
Yeah.
What is that about? I'm just curious.
It's a hot tub. So basically, when divers get out of the water, it's not like swimming, like where they can do their little jumps and get in the pool and warm up. We don't get that. So when we're standing waiting for everyone else to go and come back to our turn, it gets cold standing there on the pool deck. And when you're standing there in the cold, your muscles tense up. So it makes it a lot harder to dive. So sitting in that hot tub, it allows your muscles to stay relaxed. But if the water's too hot, then it just makes you tired. So it has to be like the perfect temperature.
So I think we're going to transition now that I got my question in there, my little trivial question. We can move on to the Landmark Championships. That's probably what everybody wants to talk about. I'm sure everybody wants to hear about. So you had obviously a very historic year this year.
Yeah.
We'll talk about landmarks and about qualifying for the NCAA zone meet and all that stuff. So we talked a little while back, actually, for the Woodward and stuff about your accomplishments. So why don't you just talk a little bit about the whole experience this year? What was that like?
It was crazy, actually, because for regionals, you have to get 2 qualifying scores. And honestly, I didn't even think I was trying to do this. My coach kind of set a goal for herself not to tell me, because I get in my head a lot, and it probably would have been harder for me to get there. So she didn't tell me, and I got these 2 scores and ended up going. But it's been a pretty good season like that. Going to regionals, landmarks was crazy. I didn't even know I was winning until my coach ran over and hugged me. So, because she wouldn't let me look at the computer. So.
What was that moment like? I mean, I know, like, I could just imagine, like, you work your whole life probably for that moment. So what was it like once you got it?
I specifically worked really hard for 3-meter this year, and obviously it worked out because I won. But it's so much easier it's a harder competition on 1 meter because everyone knows how to do it. 3 meter is a little bit harder and challenging because not a lot of girls do it, and honestly, girls are more competitive than guys in diving, which is really weird. But me and a girl from a different school have been fighting back and forth, so I really wanted to get it this year. So I worked really hard this past season, and it worked out.
Well, there you go, and we're very happy that it all worked out for you. Thanks for joining us here tonight.
Thank you.
Good luck with anything you do in the future.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
You've messed up your son's haircut.
Mom?
Do you A, try to fix it?
Like it never happened.
B, work with what you got? Or C, show solidarity?
Thank you, baby.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
This is the story of a boy who was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help, and slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Alvin and the Chipmunks want to remind you, bacteria can hide in food and make you ill.
Wow!
But you can keep bacteria from ruining your day with 4 simple steps. Clean.
I'm waiting for the rinse cycle.
Separate. Cook. And chill.
We chipmunks are notoriously tidy.
Check your steps. The road trip to food safety starts at foodsafety.gov.
I want to thank Courtney for coming tonight. Stay tuned for our Season 2 finale when Director of Athletics and Recreation Dr. Mary Jo Gunning is here to discuss the past semester and Marywood's move to a new conference. In the meantime, head over to TV-Marywood's official YouTube page and to watch full episodes of the show. Be sure to follow TV-Marywood on Twitter and like us on Facebook. Until next time, remember to look past the jersey and beyond the arch. From everyone at TV-Marywood, have a great night.